Welcome back. We are on chapter 6, Rational Expressions, section 6.5, solving equations containing rational expressions. And the first objective is to solve these equations containing rational expressions. To solve these expressions, we have to clear the fractions by multiplying both sides of the equation by the lowest common denominator of all the fractions. And then we solve as usual. And let's check how to do this on an example. And the first step is to find the lowest common denominator. Let's find it here. We have the denominators 3x, 1 and 6. 3x we cannot factor it out, it's just 3 times x, right? 1 we cannot factor it out, but 6 we can factor as 3 times 2, right? To find the lowest common denominator, we have to multiply all the unique factors. So one unique factor is 3, we can find it here and here. Another unique factor is 2, that you can find right here. 1, obviously, 1 is not an issue, but we have also x. The lowest common denominator is going to be 3 times 2, 6 times x. This is the lowest common denominator for this expression, for this case here. Let's multiply. Let's use the lowest common denominator and multiply both sides by 6 times x. So we're going to multiply here and here by 6 times x, both sides. And let me write step by step. 6x times 5, so because we're going to do the distribution here, right? 6x times 5 and 6x times 1. 6x times 5 over 3x plus 6x times 1 over 1 equals 7 times 6x over 6. And this is the part where we found the lowest common denominator. Let's separate it from the rest. And now we can simplify, we can make some simplifications, because 6x divided by 3x is going to be 2, and 1 we don't need, 1, and 6 divided by 6 is 1. After the simplification, let's organize here what remains on the expression. So remains 2 times 5 plus, and remains 6x, and remains also 7 times x. 2 times 5, 10, plus 6x equals 7x. And now we can apply addition property and add negative 6x on both sides of the equation. And finally we will have 10, and this we can simplify, it's eliminated, equals 7x minus 6x, x. That means x equals 10. So the trick here is to find the lowest common denominator, and then everything else, the next steps are much easier, because you're going to multiply both sides of the equation by the lowest common denominator and simplify and remove, actually simplify all the fractions, remove all the denominators. Don't forget, after you calculate, you find the result for x equals 10. You plug in 10 on the original equation to check if it is true, to check if it's to confirm that x equals 10 is a solution for the equation. Okay, some rules here. To solve an equation containing rational expressions, step 1, multiply both sides of the equation by the lowest common denominator. of all rational expressions in the equation. Step number 2, simplify both sides. And step number 3, determine whether the equation is linear, quadratic, or higher degree, and solve it. And finally, step 4, check the solution. Check to confirm if the solution is actually makes a true statement if you plug in the original equation. Another example, let's solve this one. Solve the following rational equation: 1 over 2x minus 1 over x plus 1 equals 1 over 3x squared plus 3x. Well, let's find the first step. Let's find the lowest common denominator. And let's get some space here. The lowest common denominator. We have the denominators here: 2x, x plus 1, and 3x squared plus 3x. To find the lowest common denominator, for each denominator, you're going to find the unique factors. You're going to factor out each denominator. So 2 times x is just 2 times x. There's nothing to factor out. X plus 1, just x plus 1, nothing to factor out. And here we can factor out 3x multiplied by x plus 1. And now, unique factors. To find the lowest common denominator, you're going to identify and put together all the unique factors. One unique factor is 2. Let's put it here, 2. Another unique factor, x. We find x here and here. Okay, let's put it here, x. Another unique factor, 3. Let's write 3 here. Let's write first 3 and then x, just to make it tight and organized. Yeah. And the last unique factor we have is x plus 1, that you can find here and there. X plus 1. Remember, just have to write down here the least common denominator, the unique factor once. If it appears in 2 denominators, we write it down here once. And we have to check also the exponents. If they have different exponents, we have to select the greatest exponent. Okay, we actually calculated and found the least common denominator. It's going to be 6x times x plus 1. Multiply on both sides. Multiply both sides by the least common denominator. 6x times x plus 1. Multiply both sides. X plus 1. You multiply here, okay? This is not nice, but you can understand, right? Let me fix this so we can. I don't want to make up. I don't like to make things messy. So let's fix this. All right. I will multiply. I'm gonna do the multiplication here step by step. You can, if you can simplify it quicker, you can do it, but I'm gonna do it step by step so you can see and understand what we are doing. 6 times x times x plus 1. We're gonna multiply here by 1, right? Oops, 1 over 2x minus here 6x plus times x plus 1 times another 1 here over x plus 1 equals, and again 6x x plus 1 times 1 over, here we found how to represent this denominator factor, so let's write the factors here. 3x times x plus 1 is the same as that 3x squared plus 3x, right? But it's going to be easier now to simplify. We don't need the ones, right? Of course, we don't need the ones. Now let's simplify, I mean, whatever we can simplify here. X, we can simplify with x. 6, we can divide by 2, and then remains 3. And x plus 1, we can simplify with x plus 1, and x with x, and 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. And also we have this x plus 1 that we can simplify here with x plus 1. A lot of things that we simplified, and every time that we multiply by the least common denominator, we actually get rid of all the fractions, all the denominators are gone, and we will work only with the remainder numbers. What remains here? 3 times what? And remains x plus 1 minus 6 times x equals, and here we simplified almost everything. The only thing remaining is 2. Apply here distributive property, 3 times x and 3 times 1, 3 times x plus 3 times 1 minus 6x equals 2. And the one last thing that we need to do, that we can do, is combine like terms, because you have 3x here and negative 6x, and we can combine like terms. So we keep this 3 here, and 3x minus 6x is actually negative, is minus 3x equals 2. And almost near the end here, subtract 3 from both sides, and you're gonna eliminate this 3. You're gonna have negative 3x equals 2 minus 3, negative 1. And let's move. Let's repeat this. Negative 3x equals negative 1, because now we can divide both sides by negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 3, and we simplify, right? X equals negative with negative positive, 1 divided by 3, 1 over 3, 1/3. This is the solution. After all the simplification, we found the solution as x equals 1 over 3. Now, don't forget, substitute the value for x into the original equation to check, to confirm that this is a solution for the original equation. Alright, another example. Let's solve this one. And now we have 1 over x minus 1 equals 2 over x plus 1. And first step, as usual, find the lowest common denominator. The denominators you have x minus 1 and x plus 1. Actually, you cannot factor out anything, right? So you're gonna combine unique factors. And so we have just 2 unique factors, x minus 1 times x plus 1. This is the least common denominator. Multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator, x minus 1 times x plus 1, and on the other side the same thing, x minus 1 times x plus 1 multiplied by the whole thing. And let me do here, I'm gonna tell you, I'm doing this step by step. I'm doing this slowly and maybe taking more time than usual. If you are confident, you can do it quicker, but I'm doing it slowly so you can see what we are doing here. Okay, so I'm multiplying this by 1 times 1 over x minus 1. equals, now I'm going to multiply 2 times x minus 1 x plus 1 over x plus 1. This now allows us to simplify. We can simplify x minus 1 with x minus 1 and x plus 1 with x plus 1. With this simplification, what remains is x plus 1 times 1 is just x plus 1, and 2 times x minus 1. Distributive property here, 2 times x minus 2, x plus 1 equals 2x minus 2. Fix this, minus 2, okay. And to find the solution, let's apply addition property here and subtract from both sides. We can subtract x from both sides, and we also can add 2 on both sides. That means we get rid of this negative 2 here, we get rid of this x, and 2x minus x. I'm gonna squeeze here, but I will rewrite. Okay, x and 1 plus 2, 3. That means x equals 3. Okay? That's the solution, and as always, you have to remember, check, substitute the value into the original equation and check if it produces a true statement to confirm that x equals 3 is a solution. Next example. Solve the following rational equation, and as we already know, first step, find the lowest common denominator. Sometimes it's easy to find the lowest common denominator, sometimes it's not as easy, and here we have to identify something really interesting. We have 9 minus a squared, one denominator, 3 plus a is another denominator, and 3 minus a is another denominator. But you have to remember the special product, a squared minus b squared equals a minus b times a plus b. Remember this? Well, that's something that we can find here, because 9 minus a squared equals 3 squared minus a squared. And we can rewrite this as 3 minus a multiplied by 3 plus a. We can factor it out, and this is going to be very important to solve this problem, because now we can find the lowest common denominator by we're going to write down here, we're going to actually find the unique factors, and one unique factor is 3 minus a that we can find here and over there, 3 minus a, and another unique factor is 3 plus a that we find here and over here as well, times 3 plus a. This is the lowest common denominator we found. Multiply both sides by the least common denominator, 3 minus a, 3 plus a, on the other side multiply 3 minus a, 3 plus a. Multiply, and I will do here as always, step by step, so you don't miss anything. And if you feel confident, you can do it quicker and simplify while you are working the expression. You can simplify at the same time, but I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna just do it really slowly, step by step. And here, actually, let me rewrite as the factoring. That is this, right? 3 minus a times 3 plus a. Because you can see we can simplify. Plus 3 minus a times 3 plus a, and See, I'm working distributive property. Times 3 over 3 plus a equals 2 times 3 minus a times 3 plus a over 3 minus a. And what is going to happen now, as in the previous examples, the same thing as in the previous examples, we will simplify a lot of things here, right? We're going to get rid of all the denominators. So we can simplify 3 minus a with 3 minus a, 3 plus a with 3 plus a, and remains here only 12. And we can simplify 3 minus a with 3 minus a, remains 3 plus a times 3, and here we can simplify, remains 2 times 3 plus a. Okay, we managed to get rid of all the fractions and all the denominators, and now we're going to put together everything that remains here. It remains 12, 3 minus a, 3, 2, and 3 plus a. Let's put together 12 plus 3 minus a times 3 equals 2 times 3 plus a. Apply distributive property here. 3 times 3, 3 times a, 2 times 3, 2 times a. So 12 plus 3 times 3, 9, negative a times 3, negative 3a equals 2 times 3, 6, and 2 times a, 2a. Well, very good. Now we are near the end. Combine like terms. Combine 12 with 9, 21, minus 3a equals 6 plus 2a. Addition property, because you want to get rid. You want to move all the variables to one side, all the numbers to the other side. So let's add 3a on both sides, and let's subtract 6 on both sides. And we're gonna have, we got rid of this, we got rid of that. 21 minus 6 is going to be 15, and 2a plus 3a, 5a. Let's go up here. We're gonna repeat. 5a equals 15. That means we need to finally divide both sides by 5, and we find the answer. 15 divided by 5, 3a equals 3. Don't forget the last step. Check your solution to confirm if it's actually a true statement and if it actually is a solution for the equation. Because check it out, what happens in this particular equation here. You're gonna have 3 minus 3 as a denominator, and 9 minus 3 squared as a denominator, and you're gonna have a zero, actually two zeros here as denominators, and you cannot have a number divided by 0. Therefore, since you cannot have a number divided by 0, 3 is not a solution, not a solution. Now you can understand why it's important to check every time your solution, especially when you're working with rational expressions. You cannot have 0 as a denominator. And this equation has no solution. A hint, helpful hint. As we can see from the previous example, it's important to check and plug in the solution into the original equation. And this is actually very important, because you can see in that situation that you have no solution for the equation. Now another example, let's work this out, and we have first step, calculate the lowest common denominator, and then you have the denominators x squared plus 7x plus 10, and we have 3x plus 6, and we have x plus 5. To calculate, to find the lowest common denominator, you need to factor out each denominator here. So x plus 5 we cannot factor out, it's just x plus 5, that's it. This is going to be a unique factor. 3x plus 6, we can factor out 3, so it's 3 times x plus 2. Now I have two unique factors, 3 and x plus 2. And what about this? X squared plus 7x plus 10. Remember, you have to find two numbers that multiply is equals to 10, and the sum is equal to 7. And it's not quite difficult, because you can think a little bit, and then you realize if you have 2 and 5, those two numbers, 2 times 5, 10, and 2 plus 5, 7. We can factor this expression here out as x plus 2 times x plus 5. A helpful hint here for you. If the objective here is to simplify, check out all the unique factors. Usually they're going to be similar. See, we have x plus 5 here and here, x plus 2 I mean, x plus 5 here and there. So just a hint. Alright, finally gonna find the least common denominator, put together all the unique factors. And 3 is a unique factor, 3 times x plus 2 is another unique factor that you can find here and there, x plus 2, and x plus 5 is another unique factor, and we have here the lowest common denominator. Multiply both sides by the least common denominator, and I will do this the hard way, or the long way, like gonna repeat everything so you see what you're doing. 3 times x plus 2 times x plus 5 multiplied by x plus 2 divided by, and instead of this expression, actually the same, let's use the factors, okay, because you can see what you can simplify. X plus 2 times x plus 5 is going to be equal, and then again 3 times x plus 2 times x plus 5 times 1 over 3 times x plus 2, right? It's this one, this denominator here, minus, and let me get more space, I don't want to squeeze the numbers. Let me move this a little bit. Okay, now I have more space, and 3 times x plus 2 times x plus 5 times 1 over x plus 5. Next step is the one that we like, because we're going to simplify and get rid of a lot of factors here. X plus 2 we can simplify with x plus 2, x plus 5 with x plus 5, another x plus 2 here that we can simplify, and these 3 we simplify down here as well, and this x plus 5 over there we can simplify with x plus 5. So let's put together everything that's remaining, and remains 3 x plus 2 x plus 5 times 1 and 3 times x plus 2 right here. 3 times x plus 2 equals x plus 5 times 1 minus 3 times x plus 2. Distributive property, 3 times x, 3 times 2, 3 times x, 3 times 2, and 3x plus 6 equals x plus 5 minus 3x minus 6. combine like terms. Right now we're going to combine like terms because you have here x and negative 3x, and you have 5 that we can combine to negative 6. Combine like terms, 3x plus 6 equals x minus 3x, negative 2x, 5 minus 6, negative 1. Sorry, negative 1. Very good. Moving everything that have variables to one side, everything that are only numbers to the other side. Then we will apply addition property and add 2x on both sides and subtract 6 on both sides. That means we will have 3x plus 5 plus 2x, 5x. Nothing equals nothing here, and negative 7. Divide both sides by 5, then we find x equals negative 7 over 5. This is the solution. Really good. And this is the last slide to restate and reinforce that you're not supposed to forget to check the proposed solution, plugging into the original equation and check if this is actually really a solution and produces a true statement. That's the end of section 6.5. Thank you very much for watching.